We're at the state capitol in Salem. If you've ever noticed the statue above the dome, it's 23 feet tall. It's the Oregon Pioneer statue. It weighs 8.5 tons despite being hollow. So glad you're with us on Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Ken Ackerman. Our next guest says this is a good year to have the first ever split house. What does he mean by that? Well, let's ask Bill Kennemer. Bill, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Ken.
What do you mean this is a good year to have a split house?
In politics, if we're not careful, we get partisan and we do the blame game stuff. And this time with 30-30, it's pretty hard to blame anybody, you know, and frankly, with a small majority, it'd be very tough with these tough decisions to ever get to keep your majority together. So I'm kind of the opinion it's almost the ideal solution to our current situation.
You know, you have the perspective of being a senator. Yeah. Back in
87 through 96.
Okay, 87 through 96. Mm-hmm. What was the difference that you saw back then compared to what you see now regarding split house, regarding politics, regarding campaigning?
Yeah, you know, things were not perfect back in those days either, but we were far less partisan. And our campaigns, for the most part, were gentler, and they left people more in a collegial spirit. And we worked in a much more bipartisan manner then. And it was interesting to come back in 2009 and find the supermajority. You know, I was more an observer than a participant. Mm-hmm. And I was used to being actively involved and actively consulted and a player in what we did. And this, in 2009, it was a little different. It was quite a different thing. And
eye-opening?
You know, frustrating and worse, yeah.
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 So with what you see now in the very short time you've been in session, what are you seeing between the two parties?
Well, you know, I'm a psychologist, and I remember my old marriage counseling professor said, you'll do a better job if you remember all people are incompatible. And I've always loved that, because I think what that really says is you only get along if you work at it. Mm-hmm. And this forces us, as well as gives us the opportunity to work together. And for some of them, it's easier. My chairman is someone that I know well, and we're in sync 80–90% of the time. I think we'll work together very well. Others, they're little oil and water kind of things, and I don't know how that will work. But, you know, I'm hoping we all pull together and make something really terrific happen.
You know, we ask our guests to fill out a bit of a questionnaire to find out what their priority is to talk about. And you filled out not only jobs, but jobs, 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 3 times.
Yes.
Tell me about jobs.
Well, you know, I'm just in an ideal spot in my view as the co-chair of the business committee. And in a recession, I think you got to get jobs going again. And there are a couple of things. Government isn't the best creator of jobs, but I think if we're not careful, government is one of the best inhibitors of jobs. Because if we're not careful, we let fees proliferate, we create regulations that inhibit things, and I think it's an opportunity to take a look at what we're doing to maybe stop some of this over-regulation and make this a more business-friendly kind of place. Because after all, if we don't have jobs, we don't have tax revenue, and we don't have the decent lives that we all want for ourselves and our families.
Now, how are you going to suggest going about creating jobs?
Well, I think a couple of different things. One of them is, for example, in this state we have the second highest capital gains tax in the United States. What that does is it means that people aren't as incented to invest in business and take that risk. Well, that would be one of them. Others, we have certain regulations, like we just yesterday were working on a bill where there was kind of a conundrum where you couldn't apply for a permit until you owned the land, but you didn't know what land you needed until you had the permit. And how do you get out of this catch-22 and make something really work? And you couldn't have designed a more inefficient way to have created that. It's controversial because any change is always controversial.
All right, by the end of June, we're going to have a solution to this, right?
Well, I hope we're going to have a lot of solutions. You know, I think, yeah, we need some miracles, and I hope we pull them off.
All right, Bill Kennemer, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
Thank you for being here as well on Comcast Newsmakers. For the crew here, I'm Ken Ackerman. Make it a great day.